Well, John McCain's very interesting because during the primary, it looked like he was over. And he came back, and he came back so strongly, and it was very impressive. So I don't think I'd fire anybody, but I'd hire John McCain. I'd get back to doing what he does best. And he really did an amazing job in the primary. It looked like he had no chance. It was literally over. And I remember a scene of him walking into a commercial airplane carrying his own bags, actually pulling his bags. And I said he ought to just give up because, it's not going to work. And then after that, he started doing fantastically well. So he has to get back to being John McCain. And I think if he does that, he'll do very well.
Because the big difference between then, when he was written off for dead politically, and now is that there's less than 3 weeks to go. There's not a whole lot of time.
Well, I think maybe the bigger difference is that he's being blamed for a Bush economy. And I'm not sure that he should be blamed for it because he's one of 100 people, and then you also have, Congress generally. But he seems to be blamed for the economy. It's not his fault.
He's a Republican, and Bush is a Republican.
That's it.
That Republican brand is in trouble right now.
Well, the Republican brand certainly is in trouble. He's a good man. I know him very well. He's a very smart guy. He's a tough guy. I think he'd be a great president. But he has to be John McCain, and he could still probably pull it out. But it's going to be tough.
So give him some more advice tonight. What do you want to see him specifically do when it comes to issue number one, the economy?
Well, he has to talk economy. He has to see the best thing that could happen to him if the economy turned around. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that it is turning around. Lots of money has been thrown at the banks, but let's see what happens. The stock markets have reacted unbelievably well for 2 days, and now all of a sudden they're back in their malaise. But he has to come up with plans, and not political plans, real plans, and they have to be very, very economy-based. I think the economy seems to be weighing down everything. At one point, you would have thought the war was a huge negative for McCain. He's made that into a positive, which is hard to believe, actually. But he's made that into a positive. He has to do the same thing with the economy. Don't forget his tax cuts and the other things. I don't know if people know what's going on, but he is offering tremendous tax cuts, whether it's capital gains or other things. And he has to let people know that.
And the notion that he's advancing is that those tax cuts, including for big corporations, for the wealthy, will trickle down and will help stimulate, create jobs, and get the economy going again. Although a lot of people are suspicious because that's been the theory of 8 years of the Bush presidency.
But history has proven that to be the case. He's a good man. I know him very well. He's a very smart guy. He's a tough guy. I think he'd be a great president. But he has to be John McCain, and he could still probably pull it out. But it's going to be tough.
So give him some more advice tonight. What do you want to see him specifically do? So you're having no second thoughts about endorsing John McCain?
No, I'm loyal to him. I know him. I know John McCain. I know he's a good man. I think he'd be a very good president.
Would you trust Sarah Palin, the governor of Alaska, the Republican vice presidential nominee, to take charge of an economic crisis in this country?
Well, I can only go by the people of Alaska. She's got the highest rating in the whole United States as being the most popular governor. Another great governor, a friend of mine, is Charlie Crist. He's got a very high rating, too. Sarah Palin has a very, very high approval rating from the people of Alaska, 84, 85%.
Let me rephrase the question then. Would you trust Sarah Palin to be in charge of the economy right now?
Do we have a choice? I think the answer is yes. I met her recently. I was very impressed with her. The people of Alaska, who really are the people that know her, they think she's fantastic. Again, she's the highest rated governor in the United States.
So the answer is yes, you would trust her?
I would trust her, yes.
Let me ask you first about Barack Obama. Is it true at one point you would have thrown your support behind him? I was hearing possibly if he would have picked Hillary Clinton, you would have been right there with them.
Well, I'm a big fan of Hillary. She's a terrific woman. She's a friend of mine. I think she was treated very poorly, and I think it's hurt Barack Obama quite badly, but she's a terrific woman.
Well, let's talk about the situation that we're in right now. I mean, who better to talk to than you, has obviously done very well with money. Who do we blame for this mess?
Well, I think it all starts with our president, wouldn't you say? I mean, he certainly has not done an outstanding job. He will never go down as one of our outstanding presidents, and it has to all start with George Bush.
There's a lot of concern, though, that John McCain is another George Bush. Why do you disagree with that?
I don't think so at all. I know John McCain very well. He's not another George Bush. He's very different than George Bush. And I really think he'll be a great president. I think he's going to do a really good job. He's a tough guy. He's a smart guy. He's a very, very bright guy. He's a very, very He's just a quality human being. I think he'll be a great president.
So what is it about him that makes him different from George Bush, Donald, with regard to economic plans, regard to fiscal policy?
Well, I think more than anything else, it's the man's solidity. People respect him when they see him. I don't think they respect George Bush, but they respect John McCain. When they see him, they respect him. He is a man worthy of respect, and this country no longer has respect. What we need more than anything else is just that word, respect. He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
He's a war hero because he was captured, okay? You can have, and I believe perhaps he's a war hero, but right now he said some very bad things about a lot of people. So what I said is John McCain, I disagree with him that these people aren't crazy. And, very importantly, and I speak the truth, he graduated last in his class at Annapolis. So I said, nobody knows that. I said he graduated last or second to last. He graduated last in his class at Annapolis. And he was upset. I said, why, for telling the truth? See, you're not supposed to say that somebody graduated last or second to last in their class.
And, you know, I don't blame McCain for losing because a lot of bad things were happening. That was a tough one. But I backed McCain, he lost. I backed Romney, he should have won, but he sort of went away on vacation or something the last month and he lost. And I said, this time I'm going to do it myself. We're not going to lose.
It's my honor, real honor, and privilege to endorse Mitt Romney. I've gotten... And by the way, this is a great couple. You look at this couple. But Mitt is tough, he's smart, he's sharp. He's not going to allow bad things to continue to happen to this country that we all love. So, Governor Romney, go out and get him. You can do it.
There are some things that you just can't imagine happening in your life. This is one of them. Being in Donald Trump's magnificent hotel and having his endorsement is a delight. I'm so honored and pleased to have his endorsement. And of course, I'm looking for the endorsement of the people of Nevada. And, Donald Trump has shown an extraordinary ability to understand how our economy works, to create jobs for the American people. He's done it here in Nevada. He's done it across the country. He understands that our economy is facing threats from abroad. He's one of the few people who stood up and said, you know what, China has been cheating. They've taken jobs from Americans. They haven't played fair. We have to have a president who will stand up to cheaters.
But Hillary's a great friend of mine. Her husband is a great friend of mine. They're fantastic people. I mean, you know the thing, they get a bad knock. She's a very nice woman. People think tough, and I guess she's tough, but she's a very nice woman, and he's a very nice guy. We know all about the smarts and how smart they are, and all, but they are good people.
I was with George Bush today. I listened to George Bush. I listened to what he said, and I believe very strongly in what he said. I think he is going to be a great president. I'm here because I'm a guest of Vice President Bush, Mrs. Bush, the Mothbachers, and some others. And
as an observer?
As really an observer, and it's an interesting system, and I wanted to see really how the system works. It's the first time that I've been involved in a convention. I came down, I wanted to see how it works, and it's fascinating.
How about financing? Now, what can you give to George? You've already contributed to him, haven't you?
Well, I contributed to him, and I've helped him a little bit, and I guess I'll help him a little bit more, and I'm not sure that he needs anybody's help. I think so far, I really think he's conducted himself brilliantly.
I think you're going to have probably George Bush as your next president. He's an excellent guy, an excellent man. He's a friend of mine, and I'm here for that reason.
Well, I wasn't talking about this year, Mr. Trump, but you have said that if you ran for president, you'd win.
I think I'd have a very good chance. I mean, I like to win. When I do something, I like to win. I like to do well, and I think I probably would have a pretty good chance.